Pretty much any time a movie does something different than the usual boring white-on-black credits, it is totally welcome. And while this usually doesn't go beyond a minute or two of snazzy, stylish CGI titles, sometimes filmmakers will dare to do more. And so these 10 examples are the most rare exceptions. So I am Gareth, this is What Culture, and here are the 10 best movie end credits ever. Number 10, The Hangover. The Hangover is one of the most iconic studio comedies of all time, exploiting its booze-soaked mystery for basically every possible laugh. After spending the entire movie searching for missing groom Doug, his best pals Phil, Stu, and Alan discover they drunkenly stashed him on the roof of their hotel the night prior. Hell of a twist. But the killer final gag sees the gang discovering a digital camera on which they catalogued their bleary lost night, and so they agree to view the pictures one time before deleting them, never to speak of them again. Cue to the credits, which plays a slideshow of the offending pictures, showing the gang trashed at a strip club, shooting off some firearms, hanging out with Carrot Top, convincing Stu to get married to stripper Jade, and then rip out a tooth with a pair of pliers, sending Phil to the hospital, creeping on Mike Tyson as he lies in bed with a woman, and documenting Alan receiving some assistance in an elevator. It's an hysterical final gag which heightens the film's already significant insanity, while still leaving just enough up to the audience's imagination. The joke was then repeated in the perfunctory first Hangover sequel, though naturally it wasn't anywhere near as fresh or entertaining there. Number 9, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Perhaps the most consistent staple across the MCU is the presence of mid- and post-credit scenes, which hint at coming attractions, tie up less urgent subplots, and give patient audiences one final gag before leaving the cinema. And while the majority of the franchise's movies feature one scene during the credits and one after, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 decided to do things a little bit differently, by peppering the lengthy end credits with a staggering 5 extra scenes. These scenes are as follows. Kraglin practices with a deceased Yondu's telekinetic arrow. Ravager Stakar Ogord meets up with his teammates, including Michelle Yeoh's Aletta Ogord. Groot is now an irritable teenage tree. Aisha observes the cocoon which will eventually create Adam Warlock. And the Watchers leave their informant, Stan Lee, stranded without a ride home. All this in conjunction with the nifty credits themselves, which feature numerous cast members including Thor Ragnarok's Grand Master dancing along to the David Hasselhoff starring tune Guardians Inferno, makes this arguably the most entertaining end credit sequence in the entirety of the MCU to date. Now look, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 definitely has a good one, but what end credit sequence will you never skip through when you watch a movie? You let me know in the comments section down below. Number 8, Liar Liar. Blooper reels that play during a movie's closing credits are a dime a dozen, but perhaps the most memorable of all time appeared in Jim Carrey's hugely successful 1997 comedy romp that was Liar Liar. The film as a whole features Carrey at the height of his comedic powers, and the end credits gag reel is a relentless barrage of the actor at his most fiercely, hilariously unrestrained. Highlights include Carrey ad-libbing with the large-breasted woman in the elevator, randomly making a paper goose in the middle of a take, much to the crew's amusement, unleashing his finest rubber-faced mugging as his scene partners desperately try not to break character, and finally being called an overactor by one of his co-stars. Over 20 years later, a goose is as memorable and oft-quoted a one-liner as anything that's in the movie proper. As a demonstration of Carey's superhuman energy and aptitude for improv, it is both hysterical and fascinating to watch. It's just like watching any video that I'm in, right? Number 7, Kill Bill Volume 2. Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill Volume 2 just might tout the most epic end credit sequence of any movie this side of the superhero genre, clocking in at a ludicrous 13 minutes, a length typically only afforded to CGI-heavy tentpoles with thousands of VFX artists. The slick credits acknowledge not only those who worked on the closing chapter of the duology, but also the saga as a whole. The first batch of credits are set to Shingon's incredible version of Malaguena Celerosa, I hope that's how you pronounce it, as a clip of every single actor who had a speaking role in either film is played. The second set of credits basically recredits all the actors once again, this time laid over gorgeous monochrome footage of the bride as she drives around. And as the members of the Deadly Viper Assassination Squad are credited, their names are crossed out. Or, in the case of Daryl Hannah's Ellie Driver, her ambiguous fate is accompanied by a question mark. After the bride winks at the camera, 5 minutes of traditional white-on-black credits follow. And the film finally ends with a blooper of the bride ripping out a goon's eyeball during her Volume 1 battle against the Crazy 88. Now that's how you end a movie. In many ways, the credits are perfectly emblematic of Tarantino's entire filmmaking style. Gorgeously shot, edited, and scored, and also undeniably self-indulgent. But his commitment to ensuring that every single cast member, both big and small, got their credited due is nothing if not admirable. Number 6, Toy Story 3. Pixar have proven themselves masters of delivering entertaining and exceedingly clever end credit sequences over the years. But surely their crowning achievement to date is the short film that accompanies the credits roll of Toy Story 3. After emotionally devastating audiences with its heartbreaking finale, the film dishes up a decidedly more silly and upbeat postscript to the story in its end credits, with a 4-minute montage revealing what happens next to the characters. Set to Randy Newman's infectious Oscar-winning tune We Belong Together, the scene shows Sunnyside transformed into a happy home for the toys, while Woody, Buzz and co are settling nicely into their new life at Bonnie's house. Some of the more hilarious moments include the reveal that the glittery, perfectly penned letter from Barbie to Woody et al. Was actually written by Ken, an innuendo-laden sequence of Rex and Trixie playing video games together, the perennially miserable clown Chuckles finally cracking a smile, Studio Ghibli icon Totoro juggling the aliens, and finally Buzz dancing with Jessie. Given that most viewers likely needed a few minutes to wipe the tears away and make themselves presentable for the outside world, this feel-good credit skit was yet another smart and emotionally satisfying decision in a movie full of them. If only it all ended there, yeah? Thank you very much for checking out this best end credits list today, my friend. For more of the best lists and videos around, then hit that subscribe button down below and you will get more of them in your life because that's just how it works. Number 5, Drunken Master 2. Jackie Chan's 1994 martial arts comedy classic Drunken Master 2, or The Legend of Drunken Master to American viewers, is one of Chan's finest cinematic accomplishments, and surely the ultimate proof of why the legendary actor makes Hollywood's insurance companies incredibly nervous. This is exemplified in the film's stunning end credits montage, documenting the various injuries sustained by Chan throughout shooting. Between almost being impaled and burned alive, suffering a surely concussive blow to the head, of which there were surely many more, falling across actual hot coals, slipping down a ladder, and generally getting his ass summarily beaten, it's clear that Chan suffered thoroughly for his art and our entertainment. Jackie Chan movies are just generally gold mines of bloopers, both hilarious and brutal, and Rush Hour 2's unforgettable blooper very nearly made this list also. Number 4, Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse is one of the most creative and visually dazzling animated movies ever made, and this claim carries through to its all-timer end credit sequence too, which basically amounts to an eye-melting surreal art project. While running down the movie's terrific cast and crew, the credits feature the movie's various iterations of Spider-Man through an extremely hallucinogenic prism. Some of the more amusing images include a recreation of the iconic Spider-Man desk meme, Spider-Man Noir bringing the Rubik's Cube back to his dimension, Spider-Man being held in a Christ-like pose by fellow Spider-Men in what's surely a homage to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, Spider-Ham being roasted alive, and best of all, Spider-Ham turning the tables by roasting Spider-Man on a spit. If that's not quite enough, the titles are accompanied by a heartfelt quote from Stan Lee, who passed away shortly before Spiderverse was released. And at the very end of the credits, Spider-Man 2099 is pointed out to audiences too. I make myself laugh. It is, in a word, utterly insane. That's 2 words, I don't care. And boasts more artistry than most animated movies and superhero blockbusters tend to muster over their entire runtimes. Number 3, There's Something About Mary. The Farley Brothers' 1998 smash hit comedy is an impeccably crafted crowd pleaser, and one that keeps the fun vibe going well into its closing credits. After our hero Ted gets the titular girl, the credits roll accompanied by a ludicrously entertaining music video of the movie's cast lip-syncing to the Foundation's iconic tune Build Me Up Buttercup. The cast is clearly having a blast, and the feeling transpires through perfectly to the audience, giving most of the starring and supporting players a moment or two to shine. In addition to reminding everyone just how incredible that song really is, seriously, I'll be throwing it on right after this video ends, the sequence also popularized the lip-sync music video, which has been featured in countless Hollywood comedies ever since. And though often imitated, none have quite bettered the original, baby. Number 2, 22 Jump Street. 22 Jump Street is a rare comedy sequel that truly lives up to the surprising brilliance of its predecessor, and that's largely thanks to the movie's bold-faced acceptance that it's totally unnecessary. The film takes constant jabs at its own existence, all the way to a legendary end credit sequence which hypes up dozens of theoretical and sadly fictional sequels and spin-offs. These sequels run all the way from 23 Jump Street to the desperate sci-fi romp 21 Jump Street, and see the pair heading off to medical school, Russia, the sea, art school, culinary school, veterinary school, Sunday school, flight academy, ninja academy, fireman school, traffic school, military school, scuba class, dance academy, retirement home, magic school, beauty school, and mariachi school. And on top of all of this, we're even shown outrageous cutaways to a video game, several action figures, a lunch set, an animated series, and an electronic dick shooting target game. Yeah, that's right. The sequence might honestly be the most effort-filled end credits in the history of cinema, between both the surprisingly effective and hilarious poster mock-ups, and also the footage accompanying each movie. That's not to forget some brilliant cameos from the likes of Bill Hader, Seth Rogen replacing Jonah Hill amid a contract dispute, Anna Faris, and old Jump Street alum Richard Grieco. In addition to being a delicious lampoon of perfunctory franchise sequels, it is a gut-busting exercise in escalation all on its own. But it sadly did not feature the most outlandish proposition of all, a crossover with the Men in Black franchise that very nearly actually happened. Maybe one day. And number 1, Call Me By Your Name. Our list concludes with an end credits sequence decidedly less funny and entertaining than most on this list, but absolutely unforgettable in its own right. Luca Guadagnino's incredible romantic drama memorably concludes with young Elio's summer fling with his lover Oliver coming to an end amid the over-the-phone revelation that Oliver is getting married. In the film's final shot, a devastated Elio sits by the fireplace, crying as he remembers the summer they spent together, while Sufjan Stevens' haunting tune Visions of Gideon plays out. After almost a minute of focusing on Elio's face as it cycles through an array of emotions, the film's title finally appears on screen. However, Guadagnino brilliantly refuses to cut away from Timothée Chalamet's performance, with the remainder of the credits rolling as he continues to stare into the fireplace and a family dinner is prepared in the background. Far more effective than any simple cut to black would have been, the unbroken 3.5-minute take allows the audience to soak in Elio's anguish in real time. And by laying it over the credits, it doesn't grind the main body of the movie to a halt. Now, it definitely won't leave audiences on a high, but it sure will leave them feeling emotionally gratified. And what more can you ask for from a trip to the movies or film on your couch, eh?